between the beginning and the ending price, which we call a capital gain or a capital loss. So those are your two basic ways that you can make money on an investment. So what is the cash return here? It's $105. You paid $95 for the share. There was no dividend in the years, but now the share is worth $200. The share that you paid $95 for, you can sell it for $105 if you choose to. So you have a capital gain of $105. So that's your return in cash. I bought the property for $200,000. It's now valued at $300,000. So I have $100,000 capital gain. And over the year, I collected $24,000 as well. So I could figure out my return. So that's very simple arithmetic. Everybody good? We like to put these things in percentage terms. So what is it as a percentage return? So it's your cash return, which we just worked out, divided by the beginning price. So ending price plus cash distribution minus beginning price all over your beginning price, which gives you your rate of return. So in this case, it would be $105, the cash return, divided by 95, so you would have earned 110.53% as your return. Why is investing risky? Why do we think of it as risky? Because when you make the investment, so how many things are in that formula there? There are three variables in there, right? The beginning price, the ending price, and the cash distribution. So why is investing in shares risky? The risk comes from the fact that when you make the investment, of those three things, you only know one. Which one you know?
The beginning price.
So you don't know what the hell the ending price will be. And you don't know what the dividend will be or what the amount. So that's really where the risk is, the uncertainty. Why is a bond, if you invest in a bond, why is that less risky than a stock?
Is it because it's like a debt instrument?
Okay.
So like,
and why is a debt instrument less risky?
because when it comes to, let's say the company fails, any debt they have is going to be first to be paid.
Okay, so that's illegal. But if you just use this framework, because with a debt instrument, you actually know what the cash distribution will be. Because they tell you what the interest will be. So I bought a bond for $1,000 face value and the interest rate is 10%. So they're promising me a cash distribution of 10% of $1,100. So the uncertainty might come from the ending price with a bond. Okay, so again, we just have some examples here of some companies. So if we go, so Dick's Sporting Goods, beginning, you bought it October 8th for $15.32. 1 year later, it's selling at $22.69 a share, and you didn't get a dividend. So what was your cash return? Ending price, $22.69, plus your cash distribution, minus beginning price. Your cash return is $7.37. And what's your return in percentage terms? 737 divided by, so D, column D divided by column A. So 737 divided by 1532, 45% return. Let's look at Walmart. You bought it at $55.81 a share on October 8th. 2008. 1 year later, you're figuring out your return. Those shares are selling at $49.68 each. And you got a dividend over the year of $1.06 per share. So what is your cash return? So you have a capital loss. Because you bought it for how much a share? You bought it for how much per share? $55.81. How much is it worth now? $49.68. So the value has gone down. So you have a capital loss. You got a dividend of $1.06 per share, but it wasn't enough to make up for that capital loss. So you end up $5.07 negative in the whole. So it's a negative 9.1%. Is this clear, everybody? Is this? No? Yes? Okay, so the returns can be negative or positive. There's a lot of uncertainty. Now, as I said, the returns, we can break it down into two pieces. Your cash return. In case of a stock is a dividend, so we can call that the dividend yield. And then the capital gains, we can call that the capital gain. So this is just another way of representing what we saw earlier. So what's your return on an investment at time t plus 1? So at what date are you making the investment? You're making the investment at time t, right? So you're making the investment at time t. You're making the investment at time t. So what is your return at time t plus 1, some point in the future? So it's the dividend you get plus your capital gain. Price at that later date minus the price you paid all over the price you paid divided. It's the same formula. So the first bit here, the dividend divided by the price, that's the dividend part of your return. And the second bit here is your capital gain or loss bit of your return. So let's look at this. Microsoft paid a one-time special dividend of $3.08 on November 15, 2004. Suppose you bought Microsoft stock for $28.08 on November 1, 2004, and sold it immediately after the dividend was paid for $27.39. So what was your realized, your actual, or your historical return? Okay, so we need three things. We need purchase price, what you put in. You bought it at $28.08. What's the selling price? What's the value now? $27.39, and the dividend. So your return is 8.15% positive. $3.08, so that's your dividend plus beginning minus ending price. So you have an 8.51% return on your money. And we can break it down into two pieces. The dividend yield was 10.97%. How much money did you invest for each share? How much did you put in? $28.08, all right? And you got a dividend of $3.08. So that's a 10.97% return just from the dividend perspective. What about the capital gain? How much did you pay? $28.08. How much is it worth now? $27.39. So you're making a capital loss divided by the price you paid. So you lost 2.46%. So 10.97 minus 2.46 takes you back to the 8.5 we can break it. So again, that's a huge difference between investing, say, in a Caribbean setting and in North America and other markets, where because our markets aren't very active, the capital gains part is very small. The prices, so you're investing mainly for dividends. Whereas it's almost the flip side on the more developed markets, where your money, you really make your money from the capital gains. Okay, again, so these returns include both the capital gain, or in this case, a capital loss, and the return generated from receiving dividends. Both dividends and capital gains contribute to what you earn, and ignoring one. So let's see, what do you get? Let me give you a minute or two to come up with this one. You all look sleepy, something will wake you up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I don't have the other way, but you may be right. Yeah, no, you might have it right. Yeah, I think so.
Any answers? Huh? 98? Let's see.
Well, 8 was the other way. Okay. So I switched them.
Small, almost zero. Very small. So the return is almost zero, negative 0.2%. I think I'm 98, so just think about something.
I did 22.23 minus 10.29.
Okay. So we need the purchase price, the beginning price, $20.33. So you bought the stock when it was worth $20.33. How much is it worth now? It's a selling price. How much is it worth now? $10.29, huh? And you got a dividend of 10. So what's your return? The dividend, 10, plus the ending price, minus the beginning price, all over the beginning price. So the dividend plus the ending price. So that's what you own at the end. You got the dividend and you own the stock. How much is the stock worth? $10.29. And you paid $20.33. That's what you were out. Divided by 22. And we can break that down. Dividend of $10 for an investment of $20.33. Your dividend yield was 49.19%. But you made a big capital loss. You bought it for $20.33 and the price plunged to $10.29. So you made a capital loss of 49.39%. Everybody's good? Okay, yeah. That's an exam question. I wouldn't insult your intelligence with this one.
Please insult me.
You can't bring that question for big people.
That's it.
Huh? I might be surprised.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what we get with this one then.
Okay.
Since you all seem so interested. 12.98? Let's see. Yes, 12.9 is 12.98% return. Dividend yield of 10.22. And a capital gain of 2.76. What did you buy it at? So when you went into this investment, what did you have to put up? How much did you have to pay? $29.35 per share. So that's the minus. That's what you have to put up. At the end of the year, what do you have? You still own the stock. How much is the stock worth? 30.16. So it's worth more than what you paid for it. So that's your capital gain. So the capital gain, 30.16 minus 29.35. You paid $29.35 for something that is now selling for $30.16. So that's a 2.76% return. And they paid you a dividend of $3. So $3 divided by 29.35, it's a 10.22% return. So when we add them up, it gets 12.98. All right, so I have to stop there because I have to go to this meeting. So next week we will continue again with the idea. So, what we just did there was the easy part. Okay, you're looking back, it's already happened. But when you are making an investment, you don't know the future. So we then move to the notion of how do you calculate an expected return. And then notions of risk and so on. I should get that stock track thing back up hopefully next day or two. Huh?
Some people don't finish.
Yeah, because some people haven't finished it. I wouldn't want you to see that disadvantage. Any questions, comments?
When you started it, it's like when you pick up a kid, it's like you start in October.
No. I will figure out that.